Good morning, Minnesota DFLers, and welcome to the DFL Daily. Richard Carbaum here, chair of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party. Great to be with you each and every day at 10:45, giving you the message, the action, and the tools to take one more concrete step toward winning big in the 2026 midterm election. All right, let's get right into our topic. I'm kind of fired up today. Yesterday, we recapped our successful convention in Rochester, and then, of course, Republicans were up in Duluth yesterday. While we gathered in Rochester, up in Duluth, it was just pure chaos. I'm going to go back to the quote I shared yesterday. CBS Minnesota wrote, "The chaos on the Republican side was matched by efficiency and a show of force on the DFL side." Well, there certainly was chaos, and it went all the way to the top of their ticket. Minnesota Republicans left Duluth in a weak position, completely divided, in disarray. Now it's made national news, and that's where we're going to dig into today and see what we're up against. So here's what happened. At their convention over the weekend, we were tracking this in real time. They held a moment of silence for Derek Chauvin, a convicted murderer. Not a moment of silence for Melissa Hortman. Not a moment of silence for Alex Preddy or Renee Good, Harper or Fletcher. The news yesterday went viral around the state, the nation, and the world. The New York Times, Huffington Post, TMZ. I think we're going to drop some links in the chat. The list goes on. It really is a national embarrassment, what they did. This is after their weekend of self-proclaimed voting irregularities. The Minnesota GOP's own delegates took to X to announce that for hours they were seriously considering tossing out the entire weekend's endorsement. And in fact, last night, Alex Plekesh relieved Lisa Demuth of her pledge to not run in the primary. The chair of their own party is trying to walk back the endorsement of Kendall Qualls. It is just incredible. And then we found out yesterday that they announced their largest annual fundraiser scheduled for this weekend is canceled. They're moving it to the fall after the primary when they might be a little bit more united. I have to say the Humphrey Mondale dinner is this Friday. It's our 14th annual. Governor Andy Beshear is going to be our special guest. It is sold out. It's been sold out 4 weeks. I've been begging the venue and our team, can we just add a couple more tables? So many people want to come. And they're like, absolutely not. It will be breaking fire code. So it's going to be a packed house. It's going to be a thrilling evening. And here's my commitment to you. We're going to clock this dinner in at 1 hour and 45 minutes. So no more 3.5, 4 hours, 4.5 hour dinners. This dinner on Friday is going to be 1 hour and 45 minutes. I respect your time, and I want to make sure that we have fun and also not make you stay till midnight. All right. So let's recap some of what happened over the last weekend with the Republican side and who got endorsed. We're going to take a few minutes to walk through these endorsements. For state auditor, the Republican Party endorsed a person named Nate George. I have no idea who this person is. You might be Scott Jensen, who had run for governor twice, was running for auditor. Yeah, they didn't choose him. They went with this new person named Nate George. He's opposed to the Office of Inspector General legislation that is meant to curb fraud, right? He opposes that bill. He opposed over 100,000 Minnesotans who protested ICE's occupation of our state. He offered support for the extremist right-wing organization Action for Liberty, and he opposes paid family medical leave. In the Secretary of State's race, the Republicans endorsed Tad Jude, a perennial, forever politician. He's been serving in office since the 70s in various positions. He's a career politician and conspiracy theorist who refuses to acknowledge that Joe Biden won the 2020 election. This is a very unserious candidate running for a very serious office. Minnesotans will reject his extremism because they trust our elections and they trust each other more than they'll trust Tad Jude. For Attorney General, the Minnesota Republicans endorsed Ron Schutz, who is he's this MAGA-loving, super conservative Republican who is like on a mission to make abortion illegal in the state. Keith Ellison has spent years standing up for Minnesota consumers, protecting civil rights, fighting fraud, taking on powerful interests when they are hurting working people. Whether it's protecting families from scams or holding the powerful accountable, Keith Ellison shows up for Minnesotans every single day. In the U.S. Senate race, this one was interesting. They endorsed a guy named Adam Schwartzy. Adam Schwartzy is the guy who said, sure, bring on the tariffs, right? This guy wants to be in the United States Senate, and he loves the tariffs that Donald Trump threw at us. He and the unendorsed quote, take one less trip to Starbucks, Michelle Tafoya, are in a race to the bottom to prove their loyalty to Donald Trump, begging for Donald Trump's love and admiration and endorsement. Adam Schwartzy is an extremist candidate who once stated, get this, women on birth control are weaker. The Republicans' agenda will only raise costs and make life for working people worse, more expensive. And Minnesotans will reject any of these candidates in November. And then, of course, in the race for governor, Kendall Qualls came out on top, 10 different ballots. Electronic voting, was completely upended this weekend in Duluth, and it nearly sank every endorsement. It was so bad. Kendall Qualls has made it clear that as governor, he will emulate Donald Trump at every turn. That's literally what he promised. He believes that Donald Trump has saved our country as prices continue to skyrocket. We're pulled into forever wars and corruption runs rampant throughout the federal government. That's what Kendall Qualls considers saved. Kendall Qualls has supported Donald Trump's war with Iran. Qualls supported Trump using ICE in Minnesota. Qualls supported the ICE agents flooding our streets and Donald Trump's campaign of retribution against Minnesota, and was even open to invoking the Insurrection Act and deploying military troops against Minnesota. When Minnesotans took to the streets to protest ICE enforcement actions in their communities, Qualls mocked them, saying that they're going to, quote, die alone because they have no kids, no families, nothing. That's what he thought of Minnesotans who stood up for our neighbors. Kendall Qualls opposes a women's right to choose. Qualls compared legal abortion to the child sacrifices of pre-Christian Roman era and has described himself as 100% pro-life. Kendall Qualls would risk Minnesota's health care. He supports repealing the Affordable Care Act, which would strip health coverage from hundreds of thousands of Minnesotans. Kendall Qualls would just be another rubber stamp for Donald Trump's policies at the expense of Minnesotans. So here's the key question that we need to push today and encourage everyone to ask. They gave a convicted murderer a moment of silence. No condemnation, no calling it a mistake. Kendall Qualls even went further. He said, quote, I could see why they would have a moment of silence for Derek Chauvin. That's actually what he said. If Kendall Qualls were elected governor, would he vote to pardon Derek Chauvin? I worked in the governor's office for 2 years before being elected chair of the Minnesota DFL. And I got to tell you, leading up to the Board of Pardons meetings that the governor chairs, there is a lot of work. The team digs through reams and reams and reams of binders and papers for people who are seeking pardons before that pardon board. And there's no question that at some point Chauvin will seek a pardon before that pardon board. And the question is, will Kendall Qualls, if you were elected governor, vote to give Derek Chauvin a pardon? One of, I think, three votes on that board, Attorney General, Governor, and Chief Justice. Would Kendall Qualls as governor vote to pardon Derek Chauvin? So as statewide candidates in the Republican Party cower away from answering this question, Minnesotans deserve clarity from politicians asking for their vote. Before we get into the action today, I want to talk about a rapid response moment we had last night. The news about the Minnesota Republicans' moment of silence didn't just go viral because it was shocking and upsetting, which it was. We notified our media contacts and got the word to our partnered creators to start the news cycle in the first place. But it didn't stop there. Pitching the story ideas doesn't make it break through. That's where you came in. Last night, we asked over 200 DFL amplifiers to invade the spaces where this story was being posted. We took to the same energy that has been amplifying our own channels with likes and comments and pushed that to the wider media ecosystem. That was an experimental next step for us, and it was a success. The strategy behind is rapid response. This rapid response moment was twofold. First, by amplifying engagement on every article, we aim to make this already trending topic go mega nuclear. Our goal was to have this hit the national nightly news. Second, we collectively trained the media to listen to us. I want reporters to know when they cover stories that align with our messaging, DFLers will show up big and reward that work. And when they don't, we take our engagement elsewhere. Throughout the evening, we shared links to articles and Facebook posts from publishers It started out local, Bring Me the News, KSCP, Fox, etc. By the end of the night, we saw articles from major national outlets and creators like HuffPost, TMZ, Don Lemon, and at 9:34, we pushed the New York Times article to DFL Amplify within 2 minutes of it being posted, and we flooded the comment section to keep the story top of mind. I didn't see a single pro MAGA comment when I checked the top results as of last night. And if you've been on Facebook lately, you know how rare that is. That moment couldn't have happened without you. Large publishers won't write a story on every event in Minnesota, but they will write about moments that gain traction. So here's the action today. Join our growing channel and be ready to strike at the next rapid response moment by joining DFL Amplify. We are closing the media gap, not just by promoting our own social media accounts, but by training the media ecosystem to treat us just as friendly as they have treated Republicans in the past. This is how we fight back against Fox News, the Daily Wire, Alpha News, and the right-wing ecosystem of conservative influencers backed by billionaire dollars. So you can join us in that fight. Sign up at dfl.org/amplify right now. You get inside information, rapid response from our team as the event is unfolding right in front of our eyes. It's really powerful, and I want you all to be part of that. All right, we've got 154 days until the November 3rd midterm election. Let's go win this thing. Thanks, everybody.